Building muscle is great until you have that one body part that just doesn't want to grow. And in this case, we're talking about the chest. You might think you're doing everything right, you might think you should be making progress, but your chest just doesn't seem to want to grow. So let's talk about how we can bring up a lagging body part. So there's a few things that we need to address first, which actually might solve the problem straight away for a lot of you. The first thing I need to say is that we all will have a lagging body part. Every single person has a body part that just does not seem to grow as much as the others. For me, it's always been my biceps and triceps. I've always had a good chest, I've always had good legs. I've never really struggled to build muscle in any of those areas. However, when it comes to the biceps and triceps, I can get full range of motion. I can do high reps, I can do low reps, I can do high volume, low volume. I can lift heavy weights, light weights, I can do every exercise ever invented. I can get a full stretch, a full squeeze, but yet still my biceps and triceps just do not want to grow as much as the chest, for instance. The best place for me to start here is not necessarily telling you guys what to do, we're going to get to that, but telling you guys the things you might be doing that is actually the reason your chest is lagging in the first place. The first reason is because you're not performing compound movements. If you think that doing chest flies or doing the pec deck is going to build a big chest, it's not. A bench press is going to build a big chest. An incline press is going to build a big chest. Dips are going to build a big chest. Those compound movements that use multiple muscle groups is how you build the most muscle in that area. The second mistake that I know a lot of you guys are doing is you're using the bench press, you're doing the right exercise, but unfortunately you're just performing the exercise incorrectly. Nobody showed you how to do the exercise properly. So I just want to give you guys a few pointers to think about next time you're on the bench press. The first thing I want you guys to do on the bench press is, before you even lay down on the bench, is you need to actually retract your scapula. What I want you guys to do is pull your shoulder blades backwards like this, and almost think that somebody has a tennis ball in the middle of your back and you're trying to squeeze that tennis ball and stop that tennis ball from falling to the ground. Once you're in that position, you can lay back on the bench. Your head will be on the bench and your traps will be on the bench. That's one of the points of contact on the bench press, is pulling your shoulders back, and then that is what will be touching the bench. The other part of your body that should be touching the bench is your glutes, and you should have a nice arch in your lower back. That's going to protect your back. You plant your feet and push your feet into the ground on the bench press. When it comes to your grip, I see guys have a really wide grip. Bad idea. A close grip is also not a good idea for building the chest, and even a neutral grip is not the best case scenario. What I recommend you do is take a neutral grip, so you're talking shoulder width apart, and just move 2 inches either side of that. That's a really good width for the bench press. When you're in that position, I want you to squeeze the bar as hard as you can, and I want you to push your chest out and pull your shoulders back. And then when you lift the weight, I want you to lift the weight slowly so you can actually feel the chest, because a lot of you guys are using the shoulders when it comes to the bench press. When you lower that weight, it should be nice and slow. You're starting at the top of the bench press, and it should be very controlled, it should be slow, and you should feel that stretch at the bottom of the bench press, and then you should be able to squeeze at the top. The squeeze is not the most important thing on the bench press, but that stretch is very important. Another thing that you need to do with the bench press, and you guys can go back and write these down so you have a checklist next time you go and use the bench press. The other big thing is, when you lower the weight down to your chest, is make sure your elbows are not flaring out like this. Your elbows should be tucking in on your sides. When you bring the weight down, you should almost feel your elbows tucking into the sides of your body, and that's how you know you're doing the exercise correctly. So now let's talk about training volume. How many sets per week of chest should you be doing? Of course, if you're not staying consistent, you don't have a lagging body part, it's because you don't train often enough. So a beginner may start at 9 sets per week for chest. They may start around 12 sets per week for chest. If you've been training a few years, you may be doing around 15 sets per week for chest. It shouldn't be any more than that, because doing more than 15 sets a week is not something you're going to be able to recover from unless you're an extremely advanced lifter. And also, it should not be any less than 9 sets per week. That's the very least amount of sets you should perform per week if you want to build some muscle. I always tell people the goal is to stimulate the muscles to grow, but not annihilate the muscles, not destroy the muscles because your body will not be able to recover from that amount of work. Now this, guys, is the most important part of this video, and that's about feeling the chest, having that mind-muscle connection. So your mind is connected to the muscle, you're thinking about that muscle as you lift the weights. For me, for example, I've been training quite a long time. I can isolate any muscle that I want. I'm so in tune with my body at this point that I can isolate any muscle I want. I can do a bench press and I can make it work my triceps and not feel anything in my chest. I can make it work my shoulders and feel nothing in the chest. If I want to, and this is what I do almost all of the time, is I'll perform a bench press and I feel nothing in the triceps, nothing in the shoulders, and I feel everything in the chest. And that's having that mind-muscle connection, thinking about the muscle I'm trying to work. There's two ways to do this. First of all is literally just thinking and focusing on that muscle as you lift the weight. A lot of people go to the gym and they're not really focusing on their workout, they're thinking about other things. So intense focus is one way to do that. The other way to do that is a warm-up set. First of all, just get a lighter weight and go for around 15 reps, nice and slow. Just push the weight up and nice and slow on the way down. And you can even hold for a second at the bottom just to feel the stretch on that chest. Do around 15 reps to warm up. Once you've finished the exercise, what I actually recommend you do is squeeze the chest after you've done that set. So you'll put the weight down and just pull your arms together and squeeze the chest, feel that, and that's going to activate the chest a little more. It's going to help you feel the muscle, and then you can add more weight to the bar. And if your goal is to go for 8 repetitions, for instance, then you can go and do your 8 repetitions. You should be much more connected after performing that warm-up set. Another thing that you guys can do is to change things up. So if you've been doing the bench press for a long time, switch to an incline bench press and then change it to dumbbells as well. And dumbbells in general may help some of you get a better feel in your chest. It may be easier for you to actually feel that chest. So switch to dumbbells, switch to an incline press. If you've never done dips before, do dips. If you do dips all the time, go back to a bench press. Don't stick to the same exercise all the time. Once you start to get these basics, everything I've said in this video down, you can incorporate supersets, you can incorporate drop sets, those styles of training to try and push more muscle growth, but you're only going to benefit from that once you've done the work and you've done everything that I've said in this video first. The video that's on screen right now, guys, is a video I recommend you watch next, and that's 5 other reasons why your chest might not be growing. So of course I've talked about bringing up a lagging chest, but in this video I speak more about why your chest might not be growing, and this is going to give you even more information on how to build a bigger chest.